house is burning, but we're still sitting in the glow. Phones charged, lights on, pretending we don't know. But the forest is silent, the river's running low, and the flame on our plates is the strongest fire we throw. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. 7 boundaries broken, the earth pushed past the line. Climate, land, species, fresh water, chemicals, nutrients, oceans in decline. Not danger, disaster in real time. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Metafoodians rise, this is your power. And here in India, one truth stands the same. Milk is not just milk, dairy feeds the flame. Cows and methane, fields and forests turn to grain. Politics, culture, carbon, all wired to the same chain. Every cup of curd is heat in the air, every block of butter is a forest repair. It's not a small habit, it's a planetary affair. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is our hour. Energy fixes half the hurt, Dr. Rao made that clear. But food fixes the other half, the half that's burning here. Change the plate, change the land, change the future's atmosphere. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Metafoodians unite, this is your choir. Every millet, every fruit, every sapseed, every bean is water on the wildfire of a world we've never seen. Every oil-free bite is a river turning clean. This is not perfection, it's direction. Not pressure, but protection. A week of choices can cool a generation. A company's courage can ignite a nation. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. Metafoodians unite, Metafoodians ignite, sharing love in the metazone, lighting the path to a cooler home. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Together we rise, together we inspire.
Welcome to the Planet B podcast, where truth, transformation, and faith converge. Join us as we flip the script on ecological despair, guided by Dr. Sailesh Rao's vision for a compassionate, rewilded vegan world. Let's begin the journey to the greatest transformation in human history.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to episode 27 of the Planet B podcast, Codes for a Healthy Earth. Dr. Rao, this is going to be a good one.
We are divinely blessed with the Codes for a Healthy Earth. It's the work of Dr. Shelley Ostroff and Jan Golding. They initially presented the codes to all of us, and we all signed on to it. And then, it was slightly modified over time, but it was basically the original contribution from them. It's a code for how do you create self-organized systems. and ensure the health of the planet.
That's beautiful. So let's begin with the opening quote of chapter 27.
That's Iroquois wisdom. In every deliberation, we must consider the impact of our decisions on the next 7 generations. That's the foresight of the Iroquois wisdom, which is to always think about generations to come in the future, as much as we can deduce what the impact would be. We have to take that into account before we make a decision.
How would our systems change when our focus is back to the indigenous nations' way of looking ahead 7 generations? How would everything on this planet look differently from a systems perspective?
Oh, very different, because we are now doing a lot of local optimization, local in time. It's just what can I get in the next quarter? How much can I grab right away? And that's what gets rewarded in the system. Okay, the system is designed around local optimization. And in fact, it's based on the idea that if someone looking out for themselves automatically looks out for the society that they are in. So this is what the father of capitalism said way back in the 16th century.
So that people, when they look out for themselves, they look out for others. But maybe that's not working so well in this current generation.
Yeah. This is Adam Smith in his book, The Wealth of Nations. He said that. But he was basically talking about enlightened self-interest.
Hmm.
And if it is enlightened self-interest, what he's saying is true. Okay.
Right.
Because enlightened self-interest is looking out for others first. That's what enlightenment is about. Right.
Yep.
But people drop the enlightened out of it when they interpret it. Okay.
Yeah.
In modern capitalism, they just assume it is just self-interest will lead to the well-being of all.
Hmm. So, Dr. Rao, when you talk about the codes for a healthy earth, you mentioned earlier about a self-organizing system. So, what is a self-organizing system?
This self-organizing system is an emergent system that gets its property from the individuals behaving according to known axioms. Right? Each individual participant is behaving according to, in a way, that's what Adam Smith was trying to do too.
Hmm.
He was talking about enlightened self-interest. And then he used the example of the baker and the butcher and so on, but in reality, everyone who is participating in an economy through enlightened self-interest will actually be doing things for the well-being of others and not expecting anything for it for themselves.
Right.
That to me is true enlightened self-interest. But that's not how it is interpreted. It's, by the time Adam Smith's work was quoted in Paul Samuelson's economics textbook, the enlightened got dropped, a bunch of words got dropped.
Whoops. Enlightened got dropped. I don't know how I feel
Enlightened
about
got
that.
dropped.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I pointed that out in my first book, Carbon Dharma. I said, this is what Adam Smith said, and you look at what Paul Samuelson wrote in his economics textbook. Key words got dropped so that it looks different. The interpretation is different.
It seems like there's some similarities with the UN IPCC there. It's just
Yes. It's a systemic issue, that kind of reinterpretation. It's a very systemic issue in the system. And by dropping that, they said, okay, we are just following the same thing that Adam Smith said. But in reality, you're doing the exact opposite.
What is exactly the codes for a healthy earth?
So the codes for a healthy earth is a set of principles that we all agree to, and that once we abide by, automatically creates health and well-being for the planet and all its inhabitants for generations to come. So it's fundamentally a set of principles by which we can live that allows us to lead our normal lives and the planet thrives,
Beautiful.
right? Because right now we just lead our normal lives and the planet dies.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's the exact opposite of the way we are living today. It's a self-organizing system that the codes are trying to realize and creating a resilient way of living that enables the planet to thrive. So it's based on the vitality code of nature, which is that every living being gives as much as they can, takes exactly what they need, and becomes who they are. And when we do that, when you give as much as you can and take only what you need, you give more than you take
Right.
because you have a tremendous capacity to give,
Mm.
to serve the whole. And then all life thrives because of your giving. Now, every
Yeah.
other life form lives according to that. This is why you leave them alone and nature flourishes. And we have created a system by which we live, an economic system where we take more than we give. In fact, the object of the game in the economic system is to take as much as you can before it's too late, before somebody else takes it all away, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
based on this scarcity model. Grab as much as you can as quickly as you can. And when we do that, then we are routinely taking more than we're giving, and therefore causing the planet to go out of bounds.
Right.
Now, by doing that and having enough of us do that, we have created a life force that has the strength and the power to regulate the climate and become the thermostat species
Right.
that can now take care of the life support systems of the planet and maintain it and prevent it from ever going back to another glaciation again. Okay.
Yeah.
But to accomplish that, we have to now use that same power that we have to heal the planet and to maintain it. And the codes allow us to do that.
Wonderful. So let's go a little bit into the declaration within the codes. So what are some of the main points of the declaration within the codes for a healthy Earth?
Well, first of all, it declares that we are united in love and concern for our planetary home and all its inhabitants. So therefore, we are pledging, declaring that we are going to come together as one humanity for this common purpose across all boundaries to restore the well-being of all life on Earth. Okay? So that's the first part of the declaration. And then there are these axioms, interdependence and so on that we acknowledge. And then it is about transforming our social systems to effectively serve the healing, integrity, and well-being of all life. So that is the Planet B transformation that we are talking about, right? And then restore the health and diversity of the biosphere. That's the rewilding part. And then ensure that all humans and animals can meet their core needs through guaranteed access to living soil, healthy water, vitalizing food, fresh, clean air, physical and emotional safety, comfortable shelter, the cultural and ecological conditions and resources needed for all to realize their unique potential in mutual enrichment with their communities and ecosystems. Okay,
Beautiful.
so this is a pledge we are doing. This is what we are going to be organizing around. Okay, and that's what Planet B is also trying to do. So how would you organize systems? How would you create systems that meet those pledges that we said we're going to do? How would we
Yeah.
do living soil? How would we do healthy water and vitalizing food? So it's all about, what is our purpose on this planet and what are we organizing for?
Right.
It's not about extraction anymore. It's about restoration and cleanup.
Yeah.
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 And then it also talks about the education system. It's about cultivating a shared whole system understanding of our collective challenges, existing solutions, and optimum healing pathways forward. So systems thinking, systems training should be in schools.
Hmm.
Everyone should be thinking along these lines. Everyone should be familiarized with how systems behave. Okay, that's how we coordinate our actions and we become so powerful as a species. And if we don't understand how systems work, we can be misled down the wrong path.
It's true. Just on that point of the systems, I just remember as a young kid, something that a lot of the schools would do is the light bulb activity, where you'd have to wire, 5 or 6
Mm,
switches, and then you turns it to the right light bulb. And I mean that stayed with me my entire life. And I think that's something
mm.
I did in like second or third grade with my grandpa. But it just
Ah,
shows that when you do that systems activity, it
right,
does really stay with you, and it highlights the importance of a system and how it functions really simply as well. So it is
right,
so
right,
it is
right.
so important.
Yeah. Collective activities like that, getting kids involved in that right at the outset and understanding our strength as a
Mm,
species. You know, we are extremely powerful as a species, but with power comes responsibilities to show compassion to those who don't have that power.
right.
Yes, you can squash them, but is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Right? Knowing our strength, we have to be much more restrained in using that strength.
Yeah. That's so true.
To be fair, humanity kind of got to understand our strength only about 30 years ago,
Yeah.
to a large extent, right? So now we have to figure out how to teach children that we have this awesome responsibility that we have to meet.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
And the fifth is to co-create a globally coordinated transition to a shared culture of peace, kindness, harmony in diversity, wisdom, integrity, accountability, collaboration, regeneration, and reverence for all of life.
Mm.
So that's the fifth declaration that we are signing on to, and we sign on to the codes.
So now
Yeah.
let's go through the guiding principles, which I think are
Mm,
just so beautiful as a way. If we were to move in this direction as humanity, we would Planet B would be there tomorrow. So if you don't mind,
right.
let's share these one by one, the guiding principles of the codes for a healthy Earth. And the first is nonviolence in stewardship.
Right. Aspire to do no harm and to align our thoughts, words, and actions with that which is nourishing for the entire community of life. Second, protect, honor, and restore the foundations of life: earth, water, fire, air, climate, biodiversity, and the web of life. So it's really about the rewilding part,
Mm,
about restoring the planet. Third, protect and honor indigenous peoples and their lands and integrate their counsel, wisdom, and knowledge systems in all sectors of human affairs. Because there are local knowledge, their local knowledge is invaluable
yeah.
for all of us, to thrive. Because they know more about what's going on in their ecosystem than we would ever learn from a textbook.
And they're also they're waiting and willing and wanting to help. They're just
Right.
waiting to be asked.
They are all waiting for us to wake up and realize that they have a treasure
Right.
there of knowledge,
Yeah.
that we can tap into. And last, ensure all decisions are based on the analysis of consequences to the health of the whole for the next 7 generations, and that human and non-human stakeholders are represented and taken into account. So I think we need to have animal guardians, who are representing different sets of species and whose responsibility is to look out for their well-being.
Mm.
Mm.
If you want to go right into the next one, which is harmony in diversity.
Yeah, harmony and diversity. Honor and heed the voices of marginalized groups in co-creating the way forward. Ensure the full protection and equality of girls and women in all social sectors. Develop our understanding about the essential and vitalizing nature of human and ecological diversity. Cultivate cultures of inclusivity that celebrate our life-enriching differences. And then acknowledge the deep layers of individual, cultural, and environmental trauma that we have undergone, and work to implement holistic healing and rehabilitation strategies that prioritize the most vulnerable communities, species, and ecosystems. So first address, those who have been harmed the most and heal them and help them come back. So this is how would you allocate resources is what this comes down to.
Mm,
So in that sense, if I look at the species level, it's all the species that are on the brink of extinction that we need to try and bring back,
right.
right? And then among human beings is those who have been oppressed the most that we have to bring back first. That would be the indigenous communities who have been colonized and whose lands have been taken away from them, who have been displaced. They are the ones who need help first.
Yeah. So it's almost like it would be reversed, where that they would lead us back onto those lands, educate us how
Yeah.
to properly use those lands. Could you share more
Yeah.
about that a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go and ask them, knowing what you know, how would we
Right.
restore this area,
Right.
right? What used to be here? Tell us your stories. So we have to start a deep listening process with
Mm,
the indigenous communities around the world. I mean, our society has the technology to help, right? But the technology has to be deployed in alignment with what they're saying should happen in that
right.
area.
Yeah. That makes so much sense too. So now, Dr. Rao, if you don't mind, we'll move into economy and law. It's a big topic
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Economy and law, the courts say, give legitimacy to those laws that protect and regenerate life, and delegitimize all laws that permit harm to life. And invest only in that which protects and regenerates life, and disinvest from any and all enterprises that harm or could harm life. Ensure all corporations and enterprises harming life will be supported to either transform or dissolve, and create the optimal conditions for the core needs of all humans and animals to be met as we transition to healthier economies and enterprises. So it's calling for a conscious transformation of business practices, of systems, economic systems, to be only those that heal life and to shut down anything that harms life. Okay. So which means the old model is about commodifying life. The old model puts a value on life. And it's just, it's all money, dollars, right? It's all turned into dollars. And it's completely illegitimate according to this.
Right.
So it's reversing that. And I literally don't see, I pretty much, once you sign on to this, you'll have to dissolve the existing system and only foster those planet B systems that are already there.
Right. Right.
Okay?
Dr. Rao,
Yeah.
how would you see like law enforcement and um like the court system? How would you see that evolved to be on planet B?
Well, planet A, it has been all about enforcing rights. Okay. So the governance is to enforce rights. Okay. And we basically give each other rights. We don't give rights to animals. We give rights to some animals. Pets
Right.
get some rights, but the farm animals get no rights. And then we are slowly saying, okay, we'll give rights to nature in some countries and things like that. It's all about rights that we are giving to other life. So it comes from a position of domination over
Mm,
life. Okay? When you start giving out rights, the rights have to be fundamentally given to everyone,
because we all
meaning
have it already.
we
Like
all
we've been
have it
given.
already.
Right.
You don't have to give it to anybody.
Right.
So the court system and the governance structures that we have in Planet B will be all about fulfilling responsibilities.
Mm,
So it's not about asserting rights, it's about fulfilling responsibilities. So if some responsibilities have not been met, how do you ensure that that responsibility is met, because it's going to impact the well-being of all.
Right. Like, do you see
Right.
kind of governance on planet B being more so like ensuring with love that rewilding projects get fulfilled and everyone is treating each other with respect and dignity, like not so much, I don't know, questioning kind of who's in charge of what, or there's just no shady schemes really.
Right. In the Code for a Healthy Earth, it says the only legitimate purpose of governance is to protect and cultivate the health and vitality of the planet and all its inhabitants for generations to come.
Hmm.
That's the only legitimate purpose of governance. Every other purpose of governance is illegitimate.
I think that says it all.
Right? Simple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to
Hmm.
govern around that principle.
Yeah, that's the foundation of governance. It makes so
Right.
much sense.
Now, beyond that, we have to codify all that. And I'm sure there are lots of academic experts, our experts who can help us codify that so that we accomplish that purpose. And we have to then have feedback loops that ensure that you are able to change things, tweak things, if it is not meeting the objectives.
Right.
Right. So it's only when we run open loop that we get into big trouble. We don't even check what's happening to the planet. We assume it's an infinite sink for waste, an infinite source for resources. Yeah. And we don't close the loop. And that's how we
Right.
get into trouble.
That makes so much sense. Yeah. So now, Dr. Rao, if you
Yeah.
don't mind, let's go into the education, learning, and media section.
Yeah. So it informs people everywhere about the global and local challenges, their systemic causes, which is really what we are doing here, and
Hmm.
the wealth of existing solutions, initiatives, and networks from all sectors dedicated to personal, collective, and planetary healing and transformation. They're already working on it. People are already working on a lot of these things. And we just are networking them together and making it systematic. So that's the purpose of Planet B, is to make it systematic.
Right.
Then identify, develop, and scale holistic healing and regenerative learning opportunities for people of all ages, learning styles, interests, and abilities to support the flourishing of the individual, the community, and the whole. This is about helping every one of us sing our songs,
Hmm.
dance our dance, because um, someone had said, and I forget who said it, I should actually find out who it is, who said, the greatest tragedy of human beings is that the number of people who die with their song still in them. And so the purpose of education is to help you find that song, help you
Right.
express that song, cultivate the wisdom, art, and science of systems thinking and whole system health and healing, which is what we are doing here, trying
Yeah.
to disseminate this kind of thinking process.
Right.
And
Yeah.
finally, evolve our language, communication skills, creative expression, and cultural narratives to cultivate an informed, empathic, compassionate, and vibrant human society.
It's beautiful. So would you like to go into, so the final part of this section is transitioning to new social systems.
Right. Ensure that people in positions of leadership are skilled in applying the principles of whole system health and healing and fully embody the values of integrity, courage, compassion, wisdom, commitment, service, expertise, and dedication to the good of the whole. So elevate those who are generous, elevate those who are compassionate. It's not about, how much can you grab, and because, as I said, the system fundamentally on planet A rewards those who are selfish and greedy.
Yeah.
So you need to reward those, or you need to give more power to those who are selfless and generous and compassionate.
Absolutely.
Initiate evolving online platforms to learn, gather, refine, and disseminate the best existing innovative laws, policies, and practices for whole system health and healing in all sectors, and to design pathways for their swift worldwide adoption and implementation according to local needs and conditions. Again, it is not one size fits all, right? So it has to be a subsidiary approach, meaning assume that the local people know better than the person sitting in a central place.
Yeah.
So decisions are made as much as possible, as locally as possible. It's only when decisions cannot be made at that level because it impacts a lot of localities that it comes to a higher hierarchy.
Which is kind
So
of the bottom up approach, which you mentioned a lot of.
correct,
Yeah.
correct, correct. Align technology and scientific advancement to serve whole system health and healing. Again, I mean, AI is a very productivity enhancement tool. But what is it deployed for?
Right.
If it's deployed for restoring the planet, I think it's an amazing tool to use because it can gather resources, knowledge from all over and put it together and create something coherent. It'll give you a good sense of where you need to go when
Yeah.
you do that. But if it is used to create fake worlds and things like that,
Yeah.
it can be highly destructive.
Hmm.
And then cultivate self-organizing, community-led wisdom and expertise circles to advise on the wisest policies and most effective solutions, while giving voice to the needs, resources, and interdependencies of all human and non-human stakeholders. Okay, so basically, we have to have wisdom councils that would make collective decisions together. And it should include those who would speak on behalf of those who are not represented in human circles, that is, other species.
Hmm.
And finally, design and implement a seamless transition to new forms of local and global governance dedicated to cultivating the most efficient and vitalizing flow of energy through the entire planetary ecosystem. So, and that's where, we have to create these systems and structures that would allow us to create a planet B.
Right. And then you end it with in big letters, towards a thriving world for all.
Right. We people of Earth affirm that a worldwide adoption of the principles outlined in these codes has the capacity to solve multiple crises simultaneously and create a culture of peace with all of life. So it's a very simple encapsulation of the principles that we need to live by.
It's
It
beautiful.
doesn't give you all the details of how you would organize on that. And that's where engineers like me come in.
Yeah. And those will probably be discussed in the next book, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, I'm working on that because it's a guide to Planet B.
Yeah. Wonderful. You end the codes of a healthy earth with together we rise for all life.
Right. Together we are going to rise for all of life and basically to support life and defend life from being killed off, because that's what's going on now
Hmm.
in the current system. So I'm appealing to people to please consider endorsing and sharing the codes for a healthy earth as a universal and evolving social contract to be voluntarily adopted by all peoples of the earth. We have to do it voluntarily. It cannot be forced on anyone. I mean, if you think there is something that needs to be changed in this, bring it up. Let's discuss it.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you have a kind of a call to action? Like, should we try to share these codes with people or organizations or institutions?
Yeah, I would like this to be, it's already been signed by over 300 organizations and in 30 countries. And, but I wish it was 3 million organizations.
Yeah.
No. So it needs to be spread and people need to come to a consensus around it, because I think it's a good way for us to build upon.
Yeah.
And so the website is codes.earth. It's very simple. And if you go there, you can read it in its entirety and endorse it and get on board with it.
So, Dr. Rao, as we round out episode 27, Codes for a Healthy Earth, what message would you like to share with our audience today?
It is an exciting time to be alive, that we are actually being called to create something new. I'm grateful to be alive at this time.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Rao. Thank you to our audience for joining us today. Our next episode is another extremely fascinating one. Chapter 28 is the civilizational transformation. So I hope you join us once again. Thank you for being with us today. Planet B signing out. Bye.
This has been a podcast from Planet B, where ethics caught up with choices. If you haven't moved here yet, we thank you for visiting.
Any questions, discussions around this? Go ahead, Rebecca.
I guess I'll start it off while people are thinking. I'm thinking, is the idea to get people's mind around this first? Because how to begin,
Right.
don't know. But the idea is to let people know that there are people who believe that we can live a better way.
Yeah. It's just principles that you can organize society around and governance around. It's I mean, the codes are like posting on in your neighborhood, children around, so please don't drive too fast. So, right, the equivalent of that. But then implementing it is like putting speed bumps in the road so that you don't really go fast. Okay. So it's making it harder and harder for you to do the wrong things according to what we agreed to.
Okay.
If that helps in making that analogy. Yeah.
Getting people to sign it and say there are people working on this, people have adopted it, and
Yeah.
okay, yeah, thank you.
Right. Brown?
Yeah, it's sort of overwhelming.
Mm.
So much to do, so much, so it must be many generations almost to accomplish this. Oh, yeah, I was interested actually what you had earlier. You talked about a university, starting university with all these programs. Can you tell us a little bit more? Is that starting, or what is your idea?
Yeah, because as you can see, there is a lot that we need to re-educate people around. It's not just educating young people; it's all of us. We need to be educated into this new way of thinking. And ideally, we want to create like online universities, and we need to create. That's what Climate Healers is trying to do, put some courses together. But I want the established educational institutions to get involved. So I spoke at the Institute for Chemical Technology yesterday, and that's why I couldn't come in the morning session. And getting them on board, first of all, they didn't understand how vast this problem is. People get overwhelmed when they realize, oh my God, there is so much to do. And that we didn't realize that we were churning out students who are literally causing the planet to die. Okay, understanding that responsibility first, and then saying, okay, now what do we do about it? So I think first I want to create like a conference of educators, and and then we can brainstorm around this,
Mm-hmm.
educators, and how do we deal with this? How do we create new curricula? How do we create uh, you know short courses that people can take and say, okay, now I'm on board, now we can help, right? So speaking to educators is most important, I think, not just university educators but also school educators.
Yeah, you have
But now
said,
but now at least you understand that I've been sort of swimming in this and trying to get my head above the water so I can see the whole picture.
yeah, there are certain examples already, I guess, in the Waldorf schools, how
Mm,
they educate the children is very much along these lines, I think, which you were already there. So there are some schools already.
correct, correct.
Uh, so, so there's some
But
hope.
there's some hope, yeah. Yeah, we need to get Waldorf schools to stop exploiting animals. That's one thing. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. That's right.
yeah,
They don't realize it's probably the fact.
right. Yeah, they don't realize the larger impact of that.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I hope everyone is thinking. Go ahead, Barb.
Well, I'm just going to say that I had computer issues and I didn't get into this until about 11 or 12 minutes in. So I know I missed some of the really good parts in the beginning and the foundational parts. I just, so that's one of the reasons I don't have a question tonight. It's like, well, I have to see the whole thing first before I can say anything.
Mhm.
It seems really interesting though. It seems like the way to go to have everybody start out in a peaceful mode and
Mhm.
know what the principles are and practice those ideas in their lives, start getting used to those ideas in their lives while they're still on this planet A that's like the opposite. And then I'm really glad that we are going to get some schools involved. That sounds terrific. So I'll be quiet since I have nothing to add, and let some other people ask some questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I just want to say one thing. You were talking about thinking, and I know Thich Nhat Hanh, as I said, that thinking is overrated.
Okay,
There's more the heart or so, or whatever you need.
right.
So
See,
that's,
when we are engaged in rewilding work and we work together to do that,
yeah,
automatically it comes from the heart.
yeah,
It's about restoring the planet, it's restoring the wildlife. So it's a heart-centered work automatically.
yeah. Now it's interesting what you said earlier that we use only 15% or so of our brain. So there's a lot of space there which we could use.
Yeah, unused.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to say he could stay on if he wanted to, but I'll have this question for you. Isn't a lot of what some of these animal activists are doing and what Dr. Ort and Beneke are doing, some of these things like the nonviolence and stewardship, aspire to
Mhm.
do no harm. I mean, we vegans are right in there trying to do no
Right,
harm. I mean,
right.
sometimes we need to do better with people, but we're trying that. And protect and honor indigenous peoples. I mean, a lot of us are very aware and trying to become more aware of what's going on there. So I think some of these, at least, are
Mm.
already being done.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. It's just codifying it. Codifying it and saying, okay, let's all agree that this is really what we are all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then saying, okay, now that we've codified it and we've all agreed to it, now let's create structures to implement it. Okay.
Well, see, you have a lot of people who are in agreement about not harming animals,
Hmm.
but you can't codify it until, yeah, I suppose even on Planet A, you can get some rules and laws done. But it's not till the whole society or the majority of the society agrees that that's part of their code of living.
Right.
I don't think I
No, I mean,
understand.
what are the minimum set of things we need to do to put these codes into action? You know, what we so that's the next step. So it's what the civilizational transformation is about. And talking about, okay, how do we put these codes into action? How do we create uh, education systems, food distribution support systems, um, economic systems that that implement these codes, right? I mean, it's all well and good to say everyone should have access to healthy soil and vitalizing food, but what does it mean in practice? How do you implement that in practice? Okay, so you can't have an economic system that says, um, you know, people have to be hungry in order to do work that they wouldn't do otherwise, and still sign on to the codes,
Mm-hmm.
right? So hunger, so it has to be a hungerless society in which basic needs are met automatically. So then how do you create that? So that's food healers. You know, it becomes like, okay, I'm saying if you sign on to the codes, help us with food healers. You know, it follows on, right?
Mm-hmm. So these are like codes for living. These are ethics that we all
Mm.
agree on. They're kind of all spelled out
Right,
instead of like in the Quran or in the Bible or in the vegan Bible or whatever.
right.
They're
Yeah,
all spelled out. And then maybe a group like the Founding Mothers Movement and some other groups that are wanting to change the laws will
right.
agree that these are the codes that we're going to try to.
Yeah. It may be good to bring the codes to the founding mothers and see if they would endorse it.
Mm-hmm.
Then that becomes um, the platform that they begin with, and
Mm-hmm.
then they implement around that,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
And didn't Chief Phil Lane have something just this last summer where they had some codes or an agreement that people signed, a statement of healthy earth. Trying to remember what that was. Well, what I'm getting at is, I bet there are maybe there are other groups that are on this
Hmm.
same path,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so this would maybe pull them all in together.
Correct. This is also based on a lot of other declarations that have happened before. So they
Right.
acknowledge that, and
Oh, I see. Okay.
just putting it all together, saying, okay, these people acknowledge this, they've had this declaration, they've had this declaration. Now we want something that everyone can kind of agree to, right?
Yes. Okay.
And that's how the codes were synthesized.
Okay. Thank you. That sounds great.
Go ahead, Ram. You're
Hello?
still muted.
Okay. Donnie was actually first, but um,
Sorry.
the it's interesting to that if we get the people to become vegan, then what is the next step? Actually, it's such an important thing to start that. Then we have the challenge of doing the other things which are needed. But, so it will be naturally to start to clean up. So there's probably a long process afterwards, but we are on the right. We can't expect it directly to be heaven on earth. It
Yeah,
it will
yeah, yeah.
take a long time
Yeah.
before we can clean up. It takes years or decades, I don't know.
Right, right. So I mean, we're just systematizing it, right? So we're saying, okay, to get there as quickly as possible, you need to do it systematically.
Yeah,
So first, you have to change the um, purpose of the
yeah,
governance, and then you have to change what your goals are. You have to change the axioms that you live by. You know, so you should have conscious axioms as opposed to unconscious myths that we are living by. So it's like saying, okay, everything that we have inherited, has it has these structures, and this is why you have these pathologies on the planet. Now, if you want to correct for those pathologies, and which we do because we want to survive on this planet and thrive, then you have to build this planet be systematically with the conscious axioms that we agree to, a, a codes that we live by, which is this one, and then the proper objective functions for the system. And then you design the system around it. So you have to design food systems, you have to design economic systems, all of that around these three that you built on, that you've agreed to, right? So I'm just trying to do systematic, it's system design
mhm.
for world peace and planetary health.
But the basics is still the ethics.
Yeah,
You have to start with that honesty, as you said
right,
before, honesty and
right,
ethics. To
right.
otherwise, you don't go anywhere.
Yeah, you don't get it anywhere. I mean, otherwise we get the same planet A pathologies.
Yeah.
Planet A pathologies are not just planetary pathologies like the seven planetary boundary transgressions. It's also endless war. It's poverty. It's hunger. It's all the social issues that we are facing, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
they're all coming from the same systematic source, which is Planet A. How Planet A is organized around unconscious myths and grab everything as you can, as fast as you can mentality, you know, and it's now leading to a social situation where potentially Americans are going to be fighting Canadians, and I mean this is the kind of nonsense that we are getting into. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unthinkable. Uh,
Mhm.
that we have nuclear powers thinking of getting into nuclear wars.
Yeah. For what?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, and we're saying, stop. You don't need to go through that madness. There's another way of solving our problems,
Yeah.
which is peaceful and which involves everybody, in which there is no one to blame.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through the past and say, "Oh, you did this to me." No, all that is over. Right? So I'm saying, let's start. We can do this without any of that.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Danny.
I have a question from Michael. It says, what's the largest scale that the codes for a healthy earth have been collectively agreed upon with policies and local government or community living by them? Any eco villages? Any models around the world trying to or who are showing proof of what comes from everyone agreeing and work warring? I don't get this word. Working of holistic principles. Could it be codes for a healthy earth or other similar social contract? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, well, its codes are kind of new. It's like a synthesis of everything that's come before, and it was adopted, I think, I think she proposed it first in 2019, and formally everyone adopted it around 2021. So if you say offhand, is there a codes community that I can go and observe? I don't know if anyone has said, we are a codes community, but portions of it have been observed in lots of places, like Southern Forest. Southern Forest has, I think, almost everything except maybe the distributed participatory governance type structures. They're not there yet. Aviram says, right now it's a dictatorship.
Thank you.
Yeah. Brittany?
I think you were saying something about how about the grabbing up of resources, how it's not good, but I still kind of think in terms of rather than saying one way is good, one way is bad, to see everything as having good and bad, and maybe in some direction, it's not like what is happening, but the application. So it could be good or bad based off of the context. So for the grabbing, wouldn't it? I see it might be helpful if it's for maybe resources that are being destructive, like to the environment or something, and transitioning it as quickly as possible and as much as possible to what's good. So wouldn't it make sense to take, see kind of the skills that we have and see maybe it's not the skill that's the issue, but or the action, but the direction it's being put in, and maybe see how we can like transition into some application that can work better. Because I just, to remove everything saying, hey, this is bad, let's not do it. It's like maybe it's taking away everything where it could be good.
Yeah. No, see, grabbing of the resources, like if you look at it as a species, we've grabbed like 91% of the land for ourselves, the entire ocean for ourselves, whatever, and all that grabbing that we did was to gather our strength. And so now we know we have planetary scale impact. And so now we have to transition to something that restores the 22 different, crises that we're facing today. Yeah, we have to start, making progress on those crises with what we have acquired, and so redeploy it for that purpose. That's what I mean. You cannot continue grabbing because you're going to see all these crises get worse and worse and worse.
People grab the resources to keep it away from others that are going to do something destructive with it. And if you don't grab those resources, then someone else who is going to be destructive is going to. So isn't it going to be better to try to grab those resources to try to protect and preserve it?
Yeah,
rather than
everyone
let it be?
who's grabbing saying is going to say, I'm doing it for that purpose. And that's how I get into this mess. So dropping that enlightened part of enlightened self-interest is why we are in trouble.
Well, I've seen it where when people don't grab the resources and just keep it out there, then eventually it does end up being taken. And once it's taken, then it's very hard to get that back and bring it back to, say, a public domain where people aren't going to destroy it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, take a look at Eleanor Ostrom's work on the commons. And she actually showed that, a lot of indigenous communities knew how to do this without grabbing stuff everywhere, right? And so they knew how to manage the commons.
There's, what's it called? A lot of these movements where, like the land back movement, where they're giving back land to indigenous so that they could manage it better. So wouldn't it, is that going to be problematic where you're assigning property even public property to be under, like, in, under responsibility of those that are going to try to help it along.
No, look, like in Greenland, for instance, I was listening to this Inuit woman speaking about Greenland, and she said, Greenland, nobody owns anything. Nobody owns that land. She said, they're all caretakers. So they're being given a parcel that they can build things on. It's a caretaker, but they don't own it. So there are no fences. Okay.
Yeah, but Greenland is a part of Denmark, so it's already owned and taken. That's kind of like how Switzerland says the capital of our country isn't a capital. We can't be above anyone else,
No, Brittany, I mean, Greenland is, they have an agreement with Denmark that it's like they're part of Denmark, but it's sort of autonomous. They're even thinking about independence. But then if they're independent, I'm sure somebody's going to come and swallow them. That's what they're scared of. That's why they're maintaining their allegiance with Denmark, because they think Denmark is more benign. And Denmark is also giving them free education and free healthcare, okay, which is what they want.
That's exactly it. I mean, Antarctica, once that, people are going to try to grab that one, and they'll try to grab the Arctic and this and that,
Yeah, so you have the mindset of, we own things is what needs to change, right? You don't own anything.
Yeah, I think it's more like who is in the who is owning it, but I think Barb had a question.
Yeah, thank you, Brittany. I was really learning some things listening to the two of you talk. I had when you're saying about grabbing things though, and maybe we should just grab it all up. I was thinking really specifically about gold and how everybody has a gold wedding ring or gold jewelry, or it's because that was what we all did, and we didn't really know where it was coming from, and we didn't know about the destruction. But now that more people are learning about the destruction, and plus I think people don't have as much free money, you notice that so many people are getting married with a very simple little silicone band. They're just getting it very inexpensively. And I thought that's the way to move away. We can still be creative and have some things that we really love, but get away from these things that are damaging the earth. So that was just one example I thought of. I did like that idea of saying, well, we're going to be caretakers. It's like as soon as you get a title like that, you start feeling kind of important. Like, yes, I will be a caretaker of the earth. And I don't know if there's something there that like, oh, we should we should have people be these special things so they feel special. I don't know. I am not sure if that's a right direction or a wrong direction to go in, but I just know it made me feel kind of cool. The other thing was that 22, they're like problems with the environment. And you mentioned it last night, and you said something with, I think it was Joji, that you were going to get him those 22 things. It's like,
to Sai, I emailed it to him.
It was I. Oh, okay. Because I kind of want that too. I want to know what they are. And when I heard that, I was like, well, is there a way we all can get that, or at least me?
Okay, hold on. I mean, this is not my compilation. It's a compilation from Jamin. So let me just share and show you.
Okay.
So everyone has access to it. I may come up with, and I probably have to do something like this too, and so we can agree on these. All right, hold on. 22 existential planetary crises highlighted below, and there are 14 in red, of which any one could drive humanity to extinction, along with countless other species, all by itself. The following 22 EPCs are organized into tiers, representing the author's first but not best attempt to put some order into the set of 22. Tier 1, exponential planetary overheating. global warming gone wild, hunger and extreme poverty, runaway animal agriculture, runaway commercial fishing. The latter two plus overheating are the greatest destroyers of life on Earth, including human habitat. Fear, disunity, and separation, and geopolitical instability and war. Tier 2, runaway totalitarianism, overpopulation, runaway capitalism, runaway resources extraction and exploitation, runaway AI, runaway CRISPR. Tier 3, the decimation of the biosphere, the sixth mass extinction, runaway wilderness fires and other extreme weather disasters, pollution and contamination of all kinds, including disrupting key biochemical flows, example, nitrogen and phosphorus cycles, ocean acidification, and shrinking freshwater sources. Tier 4, pandemics and zoonotic flows, economic, social, and political collapse, runaway organized crime, including various unnameable industrial complexes, and finally, exacerbating all of the above EPCs and preventing the solution to the crisis is our lack of awareness, lack of agency, mis and disinformation, and general ignorance and apathy.
Yeah, I took a screenshot of it. It's like I would take out anything that's private, but at the same time, I mean, it's just for me, just so that
Right.
I could study it, you know, because that's remarkable, breaking it all down like that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna be helpful.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sailesh, is that Jamin Shively?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's his list. I'm going to be talking to him. We'll figure out something.
The house is burning, but we're still sitting in the glow. Phones charged, lights on, pretending we don't know. But the forest is silent, the river's running low, and the flame on our plates is the strongest fire we throw. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. 7 boundaries broken, the earth pushed past the line. Climate, land, species, fresh water, chemicals, nutrients, oceans in decline. Not danger, disaster in real time. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Metafudians rise, this is your power. And here in India, one truth stands the same. Milk is not just milk, dairy feeds the flame. Cows and methane, fields and forests turn to grain. Politics, culture, carbon, all wired to the same chain. Every cup of curd is heat in the air. Every block of butter is a forest repair. It's not a small habit, it's a planetary affair. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is our hour. Energy fixes half the hurt, Dr. Rao made that clear. But food fixes the other half, the half that's burning here. Change the plate, change the land, change the future's atmosphere. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Metafudians unite, this is your choir. Every millet, every fruit, every sapseed, every bean is water on the wire. protection. A week of choices can cool a generation. A company's courage can ignite a nation. Put out the fire. Ooh, put out the fire. Echoes and rise. This is your hour. Metafoodians unite. Metafoodians ignite. Sharing love in the meta zone. Lighting the path to a cooler home. Put out the fire.